watching an episode of Gaia on a series called Quantum Revolution, and with a scientist. What was his name again? Did you write it down there?
Nassim Haramein.
Nassim
I'm not sure if
Haramein.
I'm doing, yeah.
And I'm not sure. I think he's a physicist.
Yes.
Yeah. And so he's appears, I'm not sure if he's on all of the episodes or just a few, but he's quite a character, and he's extremely passionate about what he's doing. And I was actually dozing off watching a few of these episodes, and I had fallen asleep right before this came on, and as soon as it started, I was just wide awake, and I didn't know why, and I started watching it. The universe gave me a huge nudge, more like a punch in the arm, when this came on. And yeah, I just really connected to everything that he was saying, and his explanation of how non-physical reality or consciousness physically creates or goes about creating the structure of physical matter, or the illusion of physical matter, and how scientifically it's been explained in formulas for a very long time, but he's kind of found another method to explain the non-physical part of the physical creation, where science just focuses on the physical. He explains how the physical is actually an illusion created from consciousness, or non-physical, and that how the motion put into creation caused from vibration, the spiraling of motion, or the circular shape of motion, is what actually creates energy into matter. And there's evidence of that throughout all of nature, and humans have used it as well. Humans have just repeated that throughout construction and formation. But if you look at the structure of how a plant unfolds, or how water goes down a drain, or how gravity affects matter, or how a tornado is formed, or all of those energetic movements through nature are all going in a spiral formation. And that is basically like a change in how energy affects the, like, each little molecule that makes up something physical, and how the change that happens in the energy creates that spiral formation.
Yes.
And we've had many discussions on how, when we naturally create, when we're drawing or painting, or we're creating artwork, we're naturally, the first thing we'll do is create a shape in a circular form. And that comes up in my artwork, and has come up in, I've been drawn to natural forms my whole life, and using circles and circular forms to represent energy. And that's just something that I've been, I don't know, that just like, that's just a part of me. And that's how I understand the non-physical to work, is in circular shapes of energy. Yeah. And circular movements. And that just, that actually feels home to me when I do anything physically that is and creates a circular form. I feel like I'm being brought back to myself and where I come from.
Yes. And actually, yeah, thank you. I think you gave a great explanation of his talk. I cannot really add much more other than, maybe repeat what you have said. But what I have here, he mentioned about going back to what his theory, right, of how to perceive that. He says that the spinning organizes itself in a certain structure, and that structure is what we can make sense of, right? So that structure is what turns into matter, into our eyes, right? Okay, we
Yeah.
consider, so there is like a coherent pattern that needs to be repeated or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I like when he talks about the galaxy. He says that everything is spinning, what you were saying. We see that in nature, and also our Earth, and
Mm-hmm.
first around its axis, and then the planet around the solar system, and the same solar system in the galaxy. And he was
Mm-hmm.
adding up all these equations, and he was saying there are over 100 100 no 1 million miles per hour. Okay,
Right.
1
Yeah.
million miles per hour of compounded spinning things. I don't know how he
Right.
managed to to measure that, but it has been there.
Yeah.
And he's saying that the largest error in physics has been to be attached to that idea of density,
Right.
because there were things that they couldn't actually measure or see or understand, and that is what it was called the dark matter.
Yeah.
You understand that too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, okay. So that was the standard way of doing this, right? When they couldn't find an answer for that, they would say, well, this is the dark matter.
Right.
But his proposal is uh, that dark matter hasn't been detected by any instrument, and it is just because it's not matter, it is energy,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
spinning energy that we have been saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so going now to our experience, I have had the same experience since very early. If you see my drawings when I was a child, especially a teenager, 10, 11 years old until, yes, all my life. But I like when I listen to something, when I am learning something auditory, listening to a lecture or something, I am scribbling or doing different little drawings. Doodling is a word when you
Doodling.
do,
Yeah.
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 And there is always that circular shape.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is, I think, especially for creative people, right? Or we are all creative. I mean, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying, but some people are able to express their creativity in a more tangible way through
Mm-hmm.
words, writing a poem or painting a picture.
Mm.
So maybe we are that spinning is more evident in the daily life. I'm not sure if this is
Mm.
true or not, but it made to listen to him, that because we have laughed together and at each other when we were talking about we are going in circles, so we are
Yeah.
and actually there is a scientific explanation for that.
Yeah.
We are actually in
Absolutely.
the middle of the creative process, right?
Yeah. 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 And that is his explanation. That is the spiral motion is creation. It's the creative process.
Yes.
And I think that's a part of why I feel so at home when I'm connecting with that physical form or the physical shape of a spiral or a circle reminds me that life is continuous, that there is no beginning and no end. We just keep going. And we're not being born or dying. We're just transforming. We're continuously transforming from one form to another or from one perspective to another.
Yeah.
And knowing that, no, I think the idea of death and this whole like fear of loss in our culture is because people don't understand that we're continuous conscious beings, and they may have a perception that this is it, like this is the
Totally.
end all be all is
Yeah.
what we're experiencing here.
Yeah.
And I think when we can connect to our non-physical, um, we really remember who we are and what we are, and that this is just a small part of our journey.